Just trying to get to work. Got us a traffic jam here with a little coal spike. Kind of going a back way to the barn. I've got to spray some weeds, but I need to pick up a little chemical this morning. I'm like, oh, I'll try this back road. Well, I went down some back roads that I've been on this one before, but till I got to this one, I was like, I'm not sure I'm supposed to be on these roads. But anyways, good morning. Welcome to the Dryland Dudes YouTube channel. My name's Emery, and we're in the thick of growing cotton. It is end of August 20. I'm gonna say 5th. That's my guess. I can't remember. Somewhere along those times. And it's first thing in the morning. I've got a farm I need to spray for weeds, and so I'm going to do that. I'm driving to the barn where the sprayer's at. Got the 8130 all put back together. I did a little bit of spraying yesterday evening. I had a 20-acre field that needed to be cleaned up a little bit, and so got it done. And then now I'm going to drive the sprayer to my parents' house where the water tank is, water trailer, and get filled up. Go drive to Bob's, get it sprayed, and that's on the agenda. That's the morning. Probably going to take all the morning by the time I do all that driving. But the reason I went to get some more chemical is I have no experience spraying any kind of like PIX, growth regulator, Mepiquat on cotton. Dad doesn't either. Never done it. And that's why we kind of grow a plant that is smaller and doesn't get real big and doesn't have to be managed, because letting the plant kind of genetics take care of it. At least that's the idea. I talked to some guys around here. They do it every year, no matter what. They think it makes the cotton easier to strip. My concern was always that, hey, you spray it, it's going to stress the plant out, and we don't get the rain, and you sprayed this chemical that's supposed to help the plant not grow vegetatively but set more fruit, which is what we want. And if you're in irrigated settings, like, you have to do that, or else you just grow a big bushy plant that's hard to harvest. So I don't want that either. But with dryland cotton, what's the best tactic? I don't know. So I'm going to try a little bit on this farm. We're going to spray half of it, and then once I get to get halfway, I'm going to add a little bit of this chemical. So I'll get a little bit of a side-by-side to see if I can tell a difference. I'm not going to do much, just trying it out. This field, while I'm spraying this field, it's had the most rain of anything. He got 1.5 inches, and then before that, a 1/2 inch. So it's getting big. It's where I was hoeing weeds the other day. So it has got a big plant already on in some spots, especially, but it is also setting a lot of good fruit too. So I thought, well, if I'm ever going to try it, this would be a good place to do it. The rest of it doesn't need it to spray because it hasn't rained. But if we do get some rain this week, which there's a chance, then maybe I could trial some other. This stuff is real cheap, like a quarter an acre at the rate I'm going. So we'll see. And when will I know if it worked or not, or was better? Probably, maybe never, or harvest time. If we can see a difference, I'll try to mark it, so we can try to tell how it's making comparative to the others. So, but then the field could also have some variability. I don't know. All right, I'm going to take off the safety chains here because, if you remember, 2 rows of cotton go like right here on either side, and so just to take away something that may drag and knock off fruit and stuff that I don't want to knock off. So I always especially do this when we're defoliating, because that loose lint cotton can definitely come out. But thought it wouldn't hurt. I got a buddy that says on safety chains, he says, I said, you can hook these up? He said, heck no, I want to be tied to this thing if when it comes off. So I don't know what's best on safety chains. Do you want to be attached? Do you want to not be attached? You saw that. The washer goes on the back side. You know, lots of trailers don't have, old school trailers don't have safety chains, so you tell me what's right. Alright, I don't have much time to show you this, but here's the cotton by my parents' house. There's some of that flumy damage, I believe, I guess, but some of this cotton's little, but some of this cotton has got lots of squares on it, lots of bowls on it. We're hitting all these different positions, which is awesome. So we're just gonna need a shower to help develop these suckers, because that takes a lot of strain. You know, that little bitty plant doesn't have near as much, but it's still trying. But some of the bigger plants here, they're really trying to get after it. We're just gonna need a shower to be able to finish those out. So maybe this week. I made it. I don't have anything much to tell you other than I made it, and I'm going to spray. You can see my tracks from before. Follow those, so it shouldn't be a ton of crop loss from where I'm driving, and so I'll basically make 2 rounds here. And what I think I'll do with this this stuff here is that's 6X means it's 6 times as strong as regular, so I'm just going to put out a small rate, like 6 ounces an acre is what I said. What's a good low rate? And he said that obviously I could do more, but what if it doesn't rain? And so actually, because I need 6 ounces, that actually just means 1 ounce of this stuff. And so what I think I'll do is I'll just watch my my timer, my counter on acres, and once I get to about 60 acres left, I'll put in 60 ounces, which is, you know, 1 ounce per acre, and spray the rest, and I'll have a marker. Now the whole perimeter will be non-sprayed with that Pix, but so it'll be consistent is what it should be. Is that the ends will be the same on both kinds. The middle will be what is had the growth regulator on it. So we'll see what happens. All right, let's try this again. I know. I'll speed up in a second. I knew I was going to see some of these as I'm spraying around. Oh, this one's got all the stickers on it. Golly. One of you said that those are the females. Well, no comment. It's not exact on the acres. I'm actually not going to get as many acres treated like this. I've got 48 acres left of this 123 acre field because I did the perimeter. And so if I went on straight acres, 60, I would have most of my like straight rows with the chemical, and the perimeter would all be fixed, which is not really going to help my side by side. So I'm generally what I think is kind of in the middle of my track lines. There's 66 track lines. I'm starting on 30, so it puts me close. I can maybe do one more. I'm trying to decide. 0, 66. I guess I'm going to do one more through just to make it as even as I can. Problem really is that the cotton is better where I'm going to put the picks anyways. It's bigger, which is probably where it needs it. So this may not be a great trial, but we'll see what happens. So as I'm talking to you, you make great points. I'm just going to go ahead and do another. I know that half of 66 is 30-30 and not 30. I was just, wanting to treat more acres than just 40 acres or so. But anyways, one more through. So, I took those chains off. You may be wondering, well, you're still dragging here. Is that going to do some damage? Maybe. But hopefully this cotton should be pretty tough. We're going to do, we may knock off some stuff, but I'd be afraid to knock the squares and stuff off, but I'm just doing it 2 rows every 100 feet. So it's more than you'd like, but that's just part of it. Like, I'm spraying across the rows, I'm running over cotton too. But in the grand scheme of the field, it's really not much. So, this should be able to handle some of that going across it. Or it doesn't, but I got to spray it anyways. All right, now I'm at the right acre. Road track 33. We're all good. kind of nerve-wracking using a new chemical for the first time. Trust the Lord, protect the crops, help this to be a good endeavor, a good experiment. We'll know for a while. Maybe won't be able to see a difference at all with the low rain. I don't know. Part of this, I just want to try things safely and simply and cheaply if I can, before like going all out. It's like, man, I'm spraying that on everything. I think one of the things that makes sense in my mind is, well, we haven't gotten many rains on through the summer when the cotton's gotten some size on it, and so I don't see it's cheap. I didn't know how cheap it was, but I would still be concerned if this was kind of dry. And it's got some drier spots here, even with the good rain it had last week. Some of this cotton's a lot smaller and a little more drought stress, you can tell. But if I hadn't got the rain, I'd still be afraid to spray it on stuff that's still maybe just trying to kind of survive, like in my parents' house. So maybe that's the factor. Like, I needed to spray. I wouldn't necessarily want to go over a dedicated pass with this, but if I need to spray for weeds, then it's also maybe that's the factor. Like, if it's rained enough where weeds have come up, then it's rained enough for the cotton to be growing vegetatively possibly, and so then they're justified to come and spray it. So that's kind of where my mind's at. If I can see some gains from it this year, maybe that's the deal. It's like, hey, just be ready to use it. Don't be tied to, like, don't be married to, like, I'm going to do this every year no matter what. But if the situation presents itself and there's moisture and the cotton's growing, let's hit it and try to get it to set some more squares and make some more fruit. So that's kind of my thinking. We'll see what happens. Well, I'm at 95 gallons left. I just have one more round to do down the back. Probably a pig is my guess, or a deer. Turn the agitator off so I don't suck air. The agitator might keep it from sucking good at the bottom, but I was going to show you some of the leaves here. So some of this paler green is the newest growth, and that can be okay as long as the plant will fruit off of those. But what you can get, you start seeing these growing kind of up. Like, this is taller than, like, here's a plant that doesn't have a ton of it right here. It's more compact, but you start seeing these offshoots with these limer green leaves starting to shoot out. So it could be those could be some fruiting branches, but they also might just be vegetative growth that, you know, I would hope would start to fruit on its own some, but it might be too late to make a good bowl on that. Where the way I understand, I think this Pix is going to try to put out some more vegetative branches fruiting branches instead of these vegetative things, and kind of show that kind of lime green color. Obviously, we're still going to get some leaf growth. You have to, but I don't want it to just grow branches. I want it to grow branches with fruit that comes off of them. So that's what I want. It. And this I can just barely have enough in this tank to spray this field. So thankful, you know, I put this all in cotton instead of splitting it in half, just kind of along for those reasons where you know, for 60 acres, it's kind of a lot to drive over here. Now I've got to tend to the fallow ground or the wheat and the cotton, so I've got more trips out here. But putting it all in cotton, if it would have been a few more acres, like 125 acres or so, I wouldn't have been able to spray all of it with one load, which makes it a little bit less convenient because I gotta have somebody bring me water out here, things like that. But it's just the right size where I can spray in one load, I can plow it or plant it in a day, all those things. But man, it's close. Like I kind of am guessing how many gallons I have in there because I don't normally fill it that full. So I was just watching it. I was at zero my volume, but I made it. So that's good news. All right, it is now 11:45. I'm gonna drive this back to the barn. Then I'm gonna go home for lunch, and then I guess I'll come back and I'm gonna try to cultivate some cotton. I don't know what's gonna look. I don't know what it's gonna do because I gotta drive in the narrow rows of the cotton. So like I'm straddling this now, but my tire has to go in between, and then the dual goes right on the outside. So the space between the two tires is pretty narrow. And if the cotton's this size right here, I think it'd be okay. But if it's bigger, like I don't think there's anything as big as what's over here. But if it's bigger and there's branches sticking out, well then my duals and my tire are gonna pinch that cotton and could break off some branches of the cotton, which I don't want, especially if it's vegetating not vegetating, especially if it's fruiting and I'm breaking off fruit and squares and blooms and bolls and all that. So I'm gonna try it at the barn. What I really want to plow is my parents' house, and maybe not the whole thing, but there's some clumpy grasses that I can't kill, but I can plow them out. And so I'm gonna experiment at the barn, see how it looks, and then if it's good, I may try to get some cultivating done at my parents' house. We do have a chance of some rain coming this week. They were showing some this weekend or early in the week. Today's Monday, Tuesday. They backed off of those chances, and now they're saying more like Wednesday to after Wednesday or so, I believe. So that gives me some more days to get some things done, like cultivating. If I'm not going to cultivate, then I'm going to switch the plow back to the offset disc, and that new ground that I picked up, I'm going to disc it, like not all of it. I'm going to disc the half, then I'm going to plant wheat on this year. I've got it figured out how I'm going to split those fields, and so I'm going to split them, and I'm going to plant. I'm also looking for any weeds I missed here, but I'm going to split it, and I'm going to plow the wheat side because wheat likes to be plowed. Normally we plant her after cotton, but I've got time to get that plowed, so I'm going to disc it. There's wheat. That's what I was looking for. I'm going to disc it, and then hopefully get some rain on it, and I can run the field cultivator over to smooth it up, and then I can sow wheat at some point. Guys that are planting wheat for grazing are going to plant here real soon, 1st of September. You got to battle armyworms. They're trying to get as much growth for grazing, and I'm not interested in that. So I'll be more like October when it cools down a little bit and the armyworms kind of skedaddle. So I'm gonna go get a weed, and then I'm gonna go home, and I'll see you after lunch. Back from lunch. It's hot. Man, I can't stop sweating with the air turned up all the way. Tractor's got to be hot too. So we'll see how this goes. I'm gonna go and see how it plows. I'm probably gonna do this long just because. And I really hate to be running the equipment when it's hot like this, but I know I can handle it. But anyways, just call me a softie, I guess. I don't know. It's gonna be hard still. That's going to be a challenge. It won't plow great, but again, my biggest concern is is it going to damage the cotton between the dual and between those two tires? That's what we're going to find out, because it looked like from driving by yesterday, earlier before lunch at my parents' house. It's starting to burn up a little bit. When the cotton starts blooming at the top of the plant, it kind of starts blooming its way up. And once there's blooms at the very top of the plant, it's pretty well done. And it's probably going to start showing signs of hurting. I saw some earlier cotton, not mine, of a neighbor's, and it was I would say that's in permanent wilt, where the leaves are just wilty, there's no more blooms, that plant is shut down. I'm not there yet, but we can get there if we don't get some rain on some of this, so we'll see what happens. I'm in here in this kind of silty spot where it was silty, now it's just dry, but this cotton's pretty big, and I don't believe it's breaking off too bad. I mean, I don't think there's some, but I think it's going to be okay. That cotton moving is because it's hitting the underside of the toolbar where it's taller. And some of those rows got a little bit squiggly because when I was planting, it was pretty soft and it was hard to keep it on the row. Makes it a little bit interesting to cultivate when it's like that. So I think what I'm going to do is I think I'm going to plow a little bit here. I think there's some grass a little bit further west from where I'm at. That's why I started on this side. And I want to try to get to some of that. And then tomorrow morning I'll probably drive it over to my parents and plow over there. Maybe plow quite a bit of that. I haven't decided exactly what I'm going to do. Obviously, I'd love to plow it all, but I don't know if it necessarily needs it. I don't know if it's necessarily worth it to run it over everything, but I want to try to get some of these problem areas. That's the goal. So I'll show you. If I see something, I'll show you that in a second. So I'm a little disappointed in how this generic Valor did on some of this cotton, this volunteer cotton, and I don't know. Some of that's some grass that I have a hard time killing, and I may have to come in here and plow that. I don't know, but some places that generic Valor smoked that volunteer cotton, and some places it didn't. And I don't know if some of this was littler and it still had the waxy kind of coat on the leaves and it didn't get in there, but some places it smoked it. So I don't really know. I don't really know what to think there. It hasn't rained enough to know if that stuff works. But yeah, there's just some cotton escapes that I was not expecting, but not consistently across, like just kind of pockets in certain fields. So I don't know if it was what the conditions were that made it different. Okay, this is as big as any cotton that I'm going to plow because it's down here where I already plowed this because it's where all the careless weeds were, and I did that a long time ago, but it's real silty and cotton's growing good. I just wanted to show you that's what I'm getting there between the row, right? So it's pretty tight, and so like this one got broken off. So there's some of that, but then like some of this is hanging over and it looks okay. So just because it's hanging over doesn't mean it's going to break off. But I like those green things. So I think I'm okay. Yeah, I'd be looking to see a lot of things just broke over there in the middle, but all right, roll on. I'm starting to get in some of these spots where there's a little more grass, and it's like the stuff looks dead, like from a distance, but you get up here close and there's just a little bit of green that's still in this stuff, which is what's in that fallow ground too. It's just been holding on. It's crazy. So all that stuff over there, if it's not cotton, has been, you know, just sitting there green, you know, straw colored, except for just a little bit at the base. There's some green, and we haven't had much rain, but just a few, you know, a couple tenths here, and it's starting to green back out, which is crazy. So I'm glad I'm going over this. I may need to plow more of this than I was thinking, if there's more spots like that, but it's like, I bet I could almost kick that out of the ground. It's not hardly rooted at all. I don't know how it's holding on, but just rubbing the sweep across it, barely cutting it, it just pulls it out. So, man, grasses in the summer are hard to kill, at least around here. You know, and now we add Johnson grass to it with the rhizomes. To me, that's almost a bigger concern than the pigweeds, which are a big concern. Here's the grass that I was actually looking for. So that stuff is a pain in the butt to kill, but it plows really good. So most of it should be just in the blanks, and so it should plow out and at least get to kind of break the adult cycle. The problem with that weed is it's fairly easy to kill as a seedling, but if it can overwinter and go through a winter, it becomes a perennial. So it's an annual that turns into a perennial after it goes through the winter. So it makes it fun. And so once it comes back, it is hard. It gets this real big clump. Some people call it like a clump grass. But man, I've tried hoeing it before, and it's about break your hoe, rattle your hands, trying to chop and get underneath that big massive roots. But a sweep slices it off real nice. Here comes some of that grass. So let's see if I can get a shot of it plowing out. So it just looks like that, but it's cut off. We'll get through this section here, and I'm gonna get out and show you what it's like. So these little ones, not bad. These bigger ones, just slice them off. But those suckers are hard to get. But there's a seed bank here for sure. But with the strip tilling and then now this, I'm knocking out some of these so they don't stay big. And then I plant weed into it, you know, so we don't plow. The weed will go in, and that stuff will just grow in the wheat, and then it'll spread, and they'll have a bigger area. So that's why this is one of the reasons why I really like cultivating, is for problem grasses, like especially this one. So I would say I got almost all of that. You know, there's gonna be some that, like that's kind of holding on, but there's not much that didn't get cut off here. You know, so that keeps me ahead, or at least keeps me fighting. Gives me a fighting chance against some of this stuff. I may just plow. Oh, there's more kind of grass patches. Not that I knew that was there. There may be. I can't remember if there's others like that here. I don't know if I'm eradicating them slowly, but I just keep hitting them like that, and they're getting better. But there's enough of those other little other grass that's kind of green that I may just plow this whole patch here. Well, I'm gonna stop there. It's time to go home, see the family. Got about 67 acres planted or plowed of this 150-ish. So I should be able to finish. I'll finish tomorrow and probably move to my parents and start over there. We've got a, I don't think you can call it a cold front or a cool front, not as hot front coming in. I think that's what that is. It's supposed to be highs in the 80s tomorrow, which I will take. It is time for summer to go away. There was a chance of some showers to come with that. I think they've taken them out, but you never know. We could sure use one. Looking at this cotton, there's some stuff. We need a shower real bad in some spots. We were wetter longer this year than the last couple of years, and it's not been near as hot this year. But still, like, not getting the rain for a lot of this stuff. What was it? First part of July till end of August, into September. Like, man, that's a long time to go without a drink of water. Yeah, I'm saying not a drink of water, like a couple tenths, which it's not getting down to the plant. Probably just wetting the top, making the plant feel a little better for a little bit, and then it burns off. So we could use rain, but that's the story of dryland farming, I'm afraid. So I will get this plowed, get that cleaned up, move over to my parents, and try to get as much of that done as I can before hopefully some rain comes in the next couple days. We do have some chances. So thanks for following along today. I'm glad to get Bob sprayed and get some cultivating done. I'm thankful that I can cultivate, because I was a little nervous the cotton would be too big, but it's borderline, but it's working. And thankful for equipment that's holding up. Just keep praying for that, and praying for rain, praying for good attitudes, and just trusting the Lord, because what else can I do? So thanks for following along and watching, and keep watching. If you're going to farm it.